everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we are going to be making a sock plug. We see him all the time, well, not all the time in the show. We saw him most recently in Kuroneko, I think episode 23, I don't remember. We hadn't seen him for a while previous to this, but I was like, you know what, let's make a sock plug because the only episode we have left, episode 26, Strike Back, the big finale, which looks traumatizing if the trailer is anything to go off, as well as what happened in Risk. I'm just ready for death at this point.
I am ready to get hurt again.
If you've watched any of my other face videos, not the voiceovers, you know I have plenty of teddies for me to cuddle during the finale, but if you don't have something to cuddle for the finale, then I would highly recommend you make a sock plug. So let's get started and make one, but first of all, we're gonna need some socks. So first things first, you're gonna grab your ladybug bag, assuming you have one, and then you are gonna get the train and go into town, and you are gonna go into Primark, assuming you live in a country with Primark, because we need some socks. And I'm heading up to the men's department, and because I hardly ever come to the men's department, it took me an embarrassing amount of time to find the socks. So the socks I ended up getting were 3 pairs of thermal socks. You do not need 3 pairs of socks to do this. They only sell them in packs, and I got them in a bigger size just because the other 2 socks, I have 3 brothers, my other brothers can have those socks, so I had to get them in their size. You will also need some buttons, obviously green buttons, unless you want to give Plagg a different eye colour. You will also need some black felt for the arms or legs, and then some hot glue. Alternatively, you can use a needle and thread, but only if you want to make your life more difficult. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out one of the socks. We're going to need 1 pair of socks. Just lay out one of the socks with it facing the front forward, so you want the heel of the sock to be backwards, so under the table. And I'm going to put the other sock that goes with it inside it, just to give it a bit of more structural integrity, because otherwise it would just be 1 sock, and 1 sock isn't going to be very fun to cuddle. And then when you're done, you want to fold down the top. Once you've got that all done, put your buttons where you like them, obviously using green buttons unless you want to give Plagg different eye colours, and hot glue them down. And if you are using hot glue and you are underage, please have an adult supervising you. I may be 25, but I'm also an idiot, and my mum and brother were watching the entire time I was doing this to make sure I did not hurt myself. So now we're moving on to the felt and making first the ears. I didn't really measure the ears just because everyone's sock size is going to be different depending on what socks you use for this. Something that's going to look sensible next to the head. I'm kind of measuring the felt up to it. Like I said, didn't take any measurements, I just completely eyeballed it. When I made the Santa hats at Christmas, I measured those out. I did not measure for this, so I just went for it basically, and cut out 1 ear, and if I was happy with it, I cut out another ear around it and I hot glued them down. Now moving on to the limbs, again using the exact same black felt. I know it's a bit difficult to see exactly what I'm doing because all the fabric is black, I'm sorry. But basically you just want to cut out 4 limbs, the exact same shape and size. There isn't really much difference that I could tell between the pieces of fabric used for the arms and the pieces of fabric used for the legs. And like I said, didn't take any measurements because everyone's socks are going to be a different size depending on what socks you are using. But a good way to get them looking okay, in my opinion, is that the arms kind of get stuck under the flap where the eyes are. So if you make the length of the arms going from the flap down to where the heel of the sock is, that'll be a good size for all of the limbs if you make it that way. So from where you're folding it over down to the heel, and once you get one you're happy with, just cut them out 3 more times to get 4 limbs. It's fairly self-explanatory, and when you've got 4 good looking ones you're happy with, honestly it's just a sock. You don't need to spend a lot of time on this, besties. Just hot glue them down, and yeah, pretty straightforward. So here we have him, sock Plagg. I think he's super cute. He really wasn't difficult to make. This took me like 20 minutes. Obviously buying the socks was a separate thing. It's not that difficult, however I was aided by a hot glue gun, and my reasoning for that is Plagg more than likely doesn't know how to sew. I understand Gabriel probably may have a needle and thread in the house since he is a fashion designer, but just because you're a fashion designer doesn't mean you also know how to make clothes. Designing and making are 2 very different things, and just because you know how to do one doesn't mean you know how to do the other one. So I would assume there would be a needle and thread in the house, but how would Plagg know how to use them? I don't know. Why there would be a hot glue gun in the house? I also don't know, but that's the Only plausible way I could think. I know most people can't sew and I know most people don't have a hot glue gun, but I'm sure you can find a way to get it stuck on. Honestly, it's just a sock. It's not like a difficult material to get things to stick on, so you should have no problem. But yeah, like I said, this is really, really easy to do. It took me less than 20 minutes. I know the footage was sped up, so you can't tell, and I edited bits out, but it's really easy to do. This was not difficult in the slightest. And he's super cute. I really actually quite like it, to be honest. I know this was quite like a short fun video, but honestly after the week I had last week was not the vibe. First Risk randomly on Wednesday. What? Okay, Saturday chilling as scheduled, perfect, thank you. Then an hour later Penalty, not scheduled. And then the finale trailer. Last week was not it, so I needed this week just to take this week to calm down, to chillax, just to process, think things through. I actually, on the same day I went to get the socks, I also went to get a new notepad, expressly with the intention of writing down theory ideas. And don't worry, I will use it for other things as well. Just keep this notepad. It's only for strike back theories, and after strike back airs I will never use it again. No. I will use it for other things, but I had so many thoughts, I had to get them down somewhere. And when I'm stressed I really like to handwrite ideas instead of type them. But oh boy, last week, how did 2 episodes get leaked in 1 week? 2! I genuinely have no idea how that happens, but anyway. Sock Plagg. Make yourself a sock Plagg. You are gonna need him for the finale. Or maybe make a different Kwame, a different sock Kwame. A tiki one would be cute. You'd have to find, I guess, like red socks with black dots on them. I don't know if those socks exist. But Plagg is probably the easiest one since he is largely all one colour apart from his eyes, which I think looks super cute with the mixed buttons. Like I know the one in the show where the buttons are the same, but we didn't have any buttons the same. I didn't want to buy a whole packet of buttons just to get 2 that are the same. I think it looks really cute. Anyway, I'd love to know how you're feeling about the finale, besties, because then I am not coping. I know I look okay. I look okay. But inside I am a mess. So I'd love to know how you're all feeling about the finale, besties, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!